Hey guys, so you ready for it? Also known as USMC Wolverine on X, because this is where this is getting posted. This is getting so fucking absurd. Okay? Today's November 9th, 2023, 7:22 p.m. Central Time. There is no mandate for any type of kill switch in 2016 vehicles and after. Massie has posted this twice. He posted 2 pages and highlighted selective text that he thought was relevant for people to read. This was his repost of his original post. During debate last night on my amendment to defund the 2026 kill switch mandate for cars, some Democrats claim the technology wouldn't monitor or disable cars. Here's the actual law I had to read to them, which he didn't. I actually watched him talk. My amendment failed. Link to the roll call vote. Let me put it this way before I even get into this, because I'm going to show you the bill like I usually do, and I'm going to go over it so every numbnuts out there understands it. Because Thomas Massie picked this up and did this. Anyone who voted for this amendment is an idiot, because you cannot defund something that does not exist, okay, yet, and you cannot defund something that doesn't have a number already dedicated to it. You repeal it, you stupid, stupid man. Blaze TV picked this up. Some twat named Hannah Cox picked this shit up. I don't know, but people are going nuts. His first post has over 4 or 5 million views. Then there's this post, and like I said, other people are picking it up. So let's actually go over what it actually fucking says. This past November 15th, 2021, bipartisan, not by Democrats. This act may be cited as the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. Remember that ridiculous bill? Yeah, that's what this was in. It is in section 24220, known as Advanced Impaired Driving Technology. So let's go ahead and find that section. This is what it says. Findings. Congress finds that 1. Alcohol-impaired driving fatalities represent approximately a third of all highway fatalities in the United States each year. And then it says some other bullshit, all talking about drunk driving. And it gets to definitions. And the next sections that I'm about to go over are what's important, not what Massie highlighted. Definitions in this section. Advanced drunk and impaired driving prevention technology. Am I saying that this technology couldn't be used for what Massie claims? No. What I'm saying is this technology doesn't truly exist right now, and it is not even being fucking worked on. And you'll figure out why in a moment. The term advanced drunk and impairment driving prevention technology means a system that can 1. Passively monitor the performance of a driver of a motor vehicle to accurately identify whether that driver may be impaired and prevent or limit motor vehicle operation if an impairment is detected. Now follow me. For all of you who followed me for years, that's A. B. Okay. Passively and accurately detect whether the blood alcohol concentration of a driver or motor vehicle is equal or greater than the blood alcohol concentration described in section 163A, title 32 U.S. Code. And 2, prevent or limit motor vehicle operation if a blood alcohol concentration above the legal limit is detected. Now it says C. We're in a new section. C is a combination of systems described in subparagraph A and B, what I just read. So what A just said up here and B just said down here. It says the system will be a combination of those. Now it says number 2, new. The term new with respect to a passenger motor vehicle means the passenger motor vehicle is a new vehicle as defined in section 37.3 of Title 42 Code of Federal Regulations or a successor regulation. None of this is worth looking up. And B, has not been purchased for purposes other than resale. Number 3, passenger motor vehicle. The term passenger motor vehicle has the meaning given in the term section 32101 of Title 42 U.S. Code. Again, not worth looking up. Section 4. This is where it gets detailed and very important to know, which is exactly what Blaze, Massie, and whoever the fuck Hannah Cox is never fucking read. 4. Secretary. The term secretary means a secretary of transportation acting through the administrator of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. C. Advanced Drunk and Impaired Driving Prevention Technology Safety Standard. Subject to subsection E, and not later than 3 years after the date of enactment of this act, the Secretary shall issue a final rule prescribing a federal motor vehicles safety standard section under 3011 of Title 42 U.S. Code that requires passenger motor vehicles manufactured after the effective date of that standard to be equipped with technology drunk and impaired driven prevention technology. What does that mean? It means this was enacted in 2021. 3 years later, if this was done, and it was not and has not been done, because I looked in the Federal Register under the National Highways Traffic Safety Administration, and they have not even proposed a rule for this. They have perfectly done a notice and said, hey, let's give states grants to do this type of shit, but they also listed tons and tons of other things in that they regularly do. There is no proposed rule, more or less a final rule. Again, this was put in 2021. 3 years later would be 2024. It's very interesting where Massie comes up with 2026 and everybody else. Let's continue. Requirement. To allow sufficient time for manufacturer compliance, the compliance date of the rule issued under subsection C, which is what we just read, shall be not earlier than 2 years and not more than 3 years after the date on which this rule is issued. So that would put it out to what? We're at 2024, 2025, 26, but not more than 3 years. So it could be 2027. Timing. If the Secretary determines the federal motor vehicle safety standard required under subsection C cannot meet the requirements and considerations described in A and B of section 30110 Title 42 U.S. Code by the applicable date, the Secretary may do a few things here. 1. May extend the time period for such date as a Secretary determines to be necessary, but not later than the date that is 3 years after the date described in subsection C. 2. Shall not later than the date described in subsection C, and not less frequently than annually thereafter until the date on which the rule under the subsection is issued. Submit to the Committee on Commerce, Science, Transportation of the Senate and the Committee of Energy and Commerce of the House of Representatives a report describing, as of the date of submission of that report, bingo, A and B, the reasons for not prescribing a federal motor vehicle standard section under 30111 of Title 42 U.S. Code that requires advanced drunk and impaired driving technology in all new passenger vehicles. The deployment of advanced drunk and impaired driving prevention technology in vehicles. C. Any information relating to the ability of a vehicle manufacturers to include advanced drunk and impaired driving prevention technology in new passenger vehicles. And D. An anticipated timeline for prescribed the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards subsection C. And 3. This is the best part. This is so priceless right here. If the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard required by subsection C, which is the wonderful technology, has not been finalized by the date that is 10 years after the date of this enactment, shall submit to the Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation of the Senate and the Committee on Energy and Commerce of the House of Representatives a report describing A, the reasons why the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard has not been finalized, B, the barriers to finalizing the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard, and C, recommendations to Congress to facilitate the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard. Period. That is what that is saying. There is no mandate for 2026 for any vehicle in the United States to have this wonderful advanced technology that supposedly kills your vehicle as what they're referring to as a kill switch. All this section is doing, literally, is mandating the Secretary of Transportation that is going to be acting on behalf of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration to create a rule change. For those of you who don't know what that is, I don't know what to help you with. It's basically an ABC agency. Any ABC agency can make a rule change to basically get around Congress. That is what that is. Just like how the ATF did the stuff on the braces. Just like how the IRS got around Obamacare shit and pushing stuff out for people so that nobody realized their health care was really going to get trashed until Obama left. That's what that is. The Secretary is going to create a rule change. That rule change has not happened. Period. The proposed rule has not happened. When the proposed rule does happen, it will have an open commentary section from 60 to 90 days from the public. You have to pay attention to what the hell's published there, and hopefully some network or some random ass actually figures out that it's been published so people can respond to it. Then after that, there is no specific amount of time, none, that a final rule then has to come out of it. In fact, there can be a follow-up to the proposed rule saying they're not going to even go through with a fucking final rule. This does not mandate shit. By the time this comes around and actually would happen, let's say it actually does. Let's say the Secretary is able to finalize some fucking rule change, which they haven't, but let's say they do. That means the final rule change doesn't mean that the actual technology has even been in existence. Other than the fact it may be in existence, but it hasn't necessarily been tested. So here's how this will work. Let's put it to testing. Who knows how long it would take to test that piece of shit to make sure it's quote unquote safe before it goes to manufacturers. Then the manufacturers basically will take these assholes to court and say, we can't do this. Let's say they can. And they decide to put all these kill switches in vehicles. It will be far from 2026, you dumb motherfuckers. This section of this bill gives out to 10 years from 2021 for the Secretary to finalize this rule. And if they haven't, they need to then go to Congress and say why they fucking didn't and why the technology is impossible or it's not legitimate or it's not feasible. There is no mandate for a fucking kill switch in 2026. And for anyone, Massie or Hannah or Blaze or any other jackass that's on fucking social media that watches this video, if you think I'm wrong, I will give you the fucking link to the text. You read it differently, you do a video on it, and prove me wrong because I read it word for word. If you don't understand that there's a federal register, if you don't understand a rule change, if you don't understand agencies do things behind Congress's back, then you do not understand and will not understand how to read this section. Period. This is Are You Ready For It? Take care, guys. Have a great day.